So I'm 5 days back from Australia. I got back, I literally moved out of my ex-boyfriend's. I moved in with my clients here for 4 days. We were supposed to go to a concert tonight, but there's been a hurricane here in South Carolina, so unfortunately the show got canceled. But it's been wonderful to be with my clients. I'm about to drive to North Carolina tomorrow to spend 3 weeks at this beautiful cabin on a lake doing PSIs with these clients and some others. And so coming back from Australia, the very last day that I was there, I got to be with Blake and Emma and Karina and Sophie, some other colleagues as well. And I said, we just have to re-air his podcast and get him back again on the podcast. You'll see how quickly we get along in this podcast and why I took the time to spend an extra day in Byron Bay to see him and to see Emma. And after having dinner with him and just watching how present he was with me, watching how present he was with Emma, who's going through a separation and into a divorce, and hearing him share about his love for Shani, the depth of work that he's doing, the consciousness of their coupleship. For me, divorced, and Emma going through divorce, we were both like, wow, he's really cool, really conscious, and really real. So you're going to enjoy this very much. I do encourage you to follow him on his podcast, to check out his different coaching offerings, and just to be sure that this man is in your world. So enjoy this podcast, and know that I'll be having him back on for part 2 very soon. Welcome to Intimate Conversations. Become the one. Intimacy is an inside job. Hello, you delicious people, and welcome to another episode of Intimate Conversations, season 11, double digits, 11. We're calling this one Soul Medicine. And this month we are talking about loneliness. We were talking about how to end blame of self or other that often leads to depression. Just like Joseph Campbell always says, the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure that you seek. And although spiritual bypassing is really easy and fun, it doesn't do shit in terms of healing what it is we're here to heal today, which is why I've encouraged and invited the amazing Blake Worrall Thompson, who you can find at his name, blakeworrallthompson.com. That's why I've invited him to the show today. I've had the pleasure of being on his podcast. He is a lifestyle and mindset coach based in Byron Bay, Australia. Right now, I'm looking outside and it's snowing, and I highly doubt it is where he is. And he spent the last 17 years in the coaching space studying a diverse range of modalities in human behavior. And his unique and innovative coaching style is a catalyst for helping his clients collapse time and transform from where they are to where they want to be. And having spent years studying areas such as NLP, breath work, relationships, hypnosis, to name a few, including psychedelics, which we both have in common, which last month we talked all about psychedelics. And now we're going to talk a little bit more about it because I think he's experiencing the breakthroughs I am. At least I'm feeling that. Blake really helps people free themselves of limiting conditions so they can live a fulfilling, successful life by design. And he has this really open-minded approach, and it allows him to delve into areas that many are afraid, which is why I invited him with this topic today. So he can bring his own insights and his methods and his learnings to his radically honest approach. So, hi, it is so great to see you again.
It is good to be here and looking forward to talking all things intimacy, but also just juicy conversations, which when you came on our podcast, I was enthralled by what you had to say and just the energy that you bring to the conversation as well.
Thank you so much, Blake. Thank you. I want to tease all of you. By the end of this conversation, you're going to be able to have an opportunity for his Rituals of Connection ebook. So we'll seed that right now. But let's go right to the title, loneliness. And then let's connect it with our journeys of, like, we've both been doing this work, obviously, for a couple decades here, but more recently, 20 years ago, I started doing ayahuasca, but it wasn't until just in this last year that I realized my use of psychedelics, my intention with psychedelics was I left. I went out to tier 3. I am one with the universe. I know who and what I am. But here's what it didn't do. I sort of missed my bachelor's. I went right to my PhD. I went right to tier 3, not tier 1. And tier 1 being my body, I still had all the trauma, unresolved trauma. And that's what this most recent MDMA and cannabis therapy that I've been going through has been able to get my system that was in level 4, hypervigilance, where's the abuser? Find the abuser so you can survive. So I go to a party and there's all these great guys. No, I'm going to find the abuser and I'm going to marry him. Oh, let's do it twice, actually. Let's marry 2 of them. So hasn't gone well. But now the way that this intentionally used medicine to stay in the body sensation, emotion, rather than leave and all of the awarenesses out in the ethers, has been able to bring my body back from 4, 3, 2, 1 into still point where I have discernment. I'm in my body, Blake, for the first time, like I thought I was, but I wasn't. So as we talk about loneliness and depression and these hard to do emotions, most of us disassociate. We don't know how to stay in and integrate. So share with us a little bit about your journey, about any times you've had loneliness, depression, or blame, and then how psychedelics have supported you.
Yeah, I find this topic fascinating, both as a coach and as a participant in society and the world, in that I really feel that being seen properly is a superpower. And one of the best feelings that really is hard to emulate in different areas. And, I think I kind of addressed this when you came on the podcast, was there's a warmth and a connection that when you're really seen can happen in a few minutes.
Oh, yeah.
As opposed to other friendships that you might have for 20, 25 years and not really feel seen. And I think one of the most challenging things is often you don't know what you don't know. So that moment of engagement that you have with someone in 3 to 5 minutes or an hour, and you're like, oh, I don't know what that was, but that's one of the greatest feelings I've ever had. That real, true feeling of being seen is one of the best feelings there is. And I think we spoke about this briefly actually on my podcast as well, in that at times it feels like a double-edged sword. It's the greatest feeling on earth, and it's also the scariest.
Terrifying. Oh,
terrifying.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
You're vulnerable. Yeah.
And I really resonate with that. And from a coaching point of view, and no doubt you feel the same, like if I can be that person for someone else, then, modalities aside, and you and I have got, a vast array of them in our 2 decades of the space. That aside, if I can allow someone to truly feel seen, then there's a lot that happens in that moment and going forward in their life as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And so this being seen, my capacity to see you or to see a client is directly proportionate to my ability to see me, be with me, stay in my body, not disassociate. So how has your journey personally, or I don't know if you administer with clients or how, I don't know how your business works, but for me, the medicine used with intention can support me and my clients in feeling and staying in the body as opposed to leaving and being able to integrate. You've got a witness who doesn't judge. You've got this medicine that helps you feel the uncomfies so we can get past where loneliness normally makes us blame ourselves, blame others, suppress all that anger, get depressed. And, it gets to the point of suicide. This is serious stuff. We really want to help people. So what's your journey been?
The first thing that's worth remembering as well, and no doubt you talk to this a bit, is disassociation had its place and had its place.
Sure,
so when I think about my upbringing, which was very violent, a lot of kind of physical violence, emotional violence, alcoholism, depression, suicide attempts, like as a kid, there's no way that I can stay in my body and manage and witness that. So to spend a large portion of my life disassociating was a survival and a coping mechanism.
Thank you.
And then it gets to a point where it no longer serves you. Well, doesn't serve you to the highest degree. And interestingly, I haven't really spoken about this, so I'm glad that we're kind of talking about this here, is 3 weeks ago, I had the most bizarre experience that I've ever had. And this wasn't on plant medicine. This was actually at a wedding, and I'd had a few drinks. And the best way to describe it for those that are trying to make sense of it, because I'm still trying to make sense of it, was that I left my body for a period of time. And there was somewhat of a rebirth on the Sunday morning. And I was fortunate enough to go into a mushroom ceremony the week after and make sense of it. And I'm glad I did, because, you know, I've spoken to a couple of coaches and practitioners and shamans, and they're like, without having, you know, a bit of language or the right people around you, it's easy to go into some kind of psychosis or psychotic episode, which I know a lot of people do when they have this kind of moment. And it's literally what happened is, you know, different versions have come through, but essentially, you know, the overarching theme is the version of you that you've known for this period of your life died. And in terms of coming into my body, the last 3 weeks has felt like a rebirth where my sensitivity is on a level that I don't understand. And I don't remember ever being as sensitive as I am. And even this morning, you know, I went to go to the gym and I was just feeling too sensitive. I came back and went for a run. So I'm in the thick of it as we're talking about it. And trying to find a lot of ways to ground myself, which I'm very fortunate. The environment that I live in is very grounding, and just going through it right now as we speak, this process of this new version of me that really does feel the most sensitive there ever been, and really just trying to come back into my body, which through the plant medicine, I was kind of told that there's going to be a 2-month integration up until May 6th, which is my actual birthday. Just to like really low, be super mindful of the environment that you're in, really discerning of the people that you surround yourself with, and really kind of cocoon yourself for this 2 months. So it's not often that I talk about something when I'm in the thick of it, but that's exactly where I'm at now.
Oh, I feel like you're my brother from another mother. Like, I'm so grateful for your, I'm going to say, bravery to be in a conversation with, we've only met once, on your podcast, and to be so vulnerable. I'm so honored that you're willing to show up in the midst of it. Makes me feel drawn to let you know what happened yesterday, so that you know you're in good company. I don't know if you are on my newsletter list, but my video that I put out that came out yesterday, I shared that it's been pretty dark, and I have been finally admitting that I'm lonely. You know, on plant medicine, when you know you're one with everything. So like, I know who and what I am. And I was really beating up on my human self, who's single, whose body misses touch. And my son, I haven't spoken to my son in 3 years. He lives with his father. And I just wasn't giving myself permission to admit how lonely I am. And so I threw myself a party. And I got like my favorite chips, my favorite ice cream, a bottle of champagne, candles everywhere. And I wrote down this whole page, and it's up on the wall right now. It says, "Why I'm proud of me." And I wrote down like 100 things, and I cried, and I had music, and I danced. And I woke up the next morning feeling even worse, even worse. Of course, I didn't tell anybody. They just got the video yesterday. But I have coaches. I have Alana Pratt Method coaches that I train, and normally I'm there to serve them and help them serve our clients. But they're like, "We saw your video yesterday. How you doing?" And I said, "I'm actually worse." And I don't know your process in the psychedelic somatic work I've done, Blake. When you're out of your body, which is a super great survival mechanism, when you come back in, the first level 3 from level 4 being out is suicidal, nauseous. It's no fun. And that's how I've been feeling. And I didn't want to tell anybody. And I wouldn't do it. I have far too many obligations. But I sure as fucking felt like it. And so I allowed my coaches to help me feel, because I know if you feel it long enough, you get to level 2. And I couldn't be the banks of the river and the river at the same time. So just literally yesterday, Blake, I lost my shit with my clients. And then after the suicidal part, level 2 is that very short spurt of not anger, but rage, not fear, but panic, not sadness, but like sobbing. It's something there, short, 30 seconds, 60 seconds. And then you get down to mild anger or fear, and then 0. Talk about self-hatred. I had not forgiven myself for all my mistakes. And I was so pissed at me. And I felt it being witnessed. And then all of a sudden it went to the stillness, but not the stillness when you leave stillness. I'm like, I can feel my feet on the ground. I can be here. And what you're sharing, the sensitivity of being back in zero is new. It's new. It's on the other side of feeling what I had not yet felt or integrated. So I share that with you so you know, your sister from another mother's got her own stuff she's going through, but I want to go deeper with you. Tell us about what it's like to be so sensitive right now. What's it feel like? What's going on? What's happening?
It's actually kind of scary, if I'm honest. When I woke up on that Sunday morning, my best mate was here, and you know, he's actually my business partner as well in another business. And for him to witness, it was literally like me as an infant in a grown full man body. He's like, the best thing that has happened for me over the last 3 weeks, and I'm so grateful for the environment I've got, is that my close knit are so non-judgmental. Because over the last couple of weeks, with this rebirth, this dying, this like reconfiguration is the word that keeps coming to me. Yeah. Like all it would take is a little bit of judgment, and I'd really struggle. I'd really struggle. So for the people that I've got around me to just be able to hold me in what it is, and they are, you know, most of my really close friends have done a lot of psychedelic work, albeit this death and rebirth wasn't the psychedelics, it was the week before. But there's a level of understanding, and even if there's not a level of understanding, there's an understanding that they don't understand. And in that is just this ability to try to really allow and honor the process, which for me to surrender and let go in this infant stage that I feel I'm in is really challenging. And it's almost like this really interesting paradox of like you've landed for the first time really properly on earth in terms of this death of this kind of 3D version of me, which is the language that kind of came through. And you also have to and get to trust in the universe, the unfolding, the synchronicities, and this higher version of you that's kind of landing. So, you know, a part of me's had a lot of envy, you know, the last couple of years with the environments that I'm in, with a lot of people who feel like they're kind of more tapped in, source, spirit, you know, however you kind of want to language it. And I kind of felt like I was missing out a little bit on what it is that they're connected to, you know, even connected to kind of earth better than I am. And when I did the mushroom ceremony and that came through, it's like, yeah, this piece is going to start kind of showing up for you. And I don't know what that looks like, and I'm not kind of attached to it. But it's, yeah, it feels equal parts exciting and daunting, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Thank you. A comment and a question. For me, the 3D world, good, bad, right, wrong, I'm superior, you're inferior, I'm in charge, you're not, like all of that. Well, it clearly doesn't work. And we'll say the next dimension, fifth dimension, it's a win-win for everybody. And it's a completely different way of looking at life and a completely different way of being. So I'm so inspired that the avatar, the aspect, however you were raised till now, based on your circumstances, that you, with your commitment to self, your commitment to your community, your commitment to your soul, that you have, I don't know what, and this is what my question is, and you don't have to share if you don't want to, something triggered the out of body and the rebirth. And I imagine you make intentions, you know, yesterday was the new moon intentions. So I'm wondering, can you track, I intended something. I had no clue how it was going to go down. There was the trigger. And I'm now learning to be like, to be multidimensional, dude, like to be multidimensional. So
totally get it. Well,
yeah.
When I think about intention, what's interesting, and you'll love this, is the intention that I went into the mushroom ceremony with, and this was 1 week after this capitulation, rebirth, death, whatever you want to call it. I actually went in to the mushroom ceremony with the intention of bringing to light anything that's blocking the next level of intimacy between me and my partner. It didn't show, but they're like, it has kind of come to light in its own natural way because of that death and rebirth. And interestingly, I hope she's all right with me sharing this. I think she's shared openly, so that's all right. She was in the ceremony with me, experiencing the death and the parting of ways between us while I was experiencing the death of my former self as well. So there was this incredible kind of synchronicity of us both witnessing a death of me and a death of us in that form.
Iteration,
yeah. So in terms of the build up, I felt more and more called over the last couple of months to bring in my bubble even tighter. Similar to you, there's such an output in the work that we do that I really just, I'm feeling more and more called, like I'm quite introverted. I'm feeling more and more called just to really have super clean energies around me. And I felt that way for 18 months and I did a lot of work around this last year, but I'm feeling even more called to kind of draw it in even tighter. I'm not sure if this resonates with you, but just there's such a sensitivity in my body now that, you know, whether it's hypervigilance or whether it's just a clean sensitivity, I'm not sure, but I'm really feeling into people's energies, and not from a place of judgment, but from a place of boundaries and just attunement to what it is that I want. And, you know, over the last couple of months, there's been more love for the collective than I've ever felt before, and a stronger discernment for what I want in my little bubble than ever before as well. And, you know, one of the things that I've had my time again over the last few years with everything that's been happening in the world and such an interesting energy is the parting of ways with old friendships I didn't do as gracefully and with as much humility as I would like. And that, you know, when I addressed that, that was really a core wound around abandonment and rejection, which was a mushroom ceremony. I did it right at the start of the year. So, you know, to deal with that rejection and abandonment wound to the level that I did in the mushroom ceremony was also super healing. And again, you know, for me, and it's valuable to remember that we're all kind of going through our own struggles. I would probably have a nightmare once a fortnight about some kind of rejection and abandonment, and I would have had it for 10, 15 years. So that core wound that played up time and time again and really took a lot of space has, you know, beautifully kind of fallen away, hopefully forever, but fallen away and just hasn't taken any space over the last 2 to 3 months as well.
Good for you. Wow. Thank you for continuing to show up and keep doing the work. This idea of wanting to make your bubble more a cocoon. I'm from Canada. I've lived in Tokyo. I've lived in New York. I've lived in LA. And now I live in the middle of nowhere in Wyoming for a reason, because the sensitivity and it's me and nature, the animals, and the odd person from time to time. And it's exactly as I go through this next level of healing, what I need as well. So I so honor you, and I completely reflect the honoring of the sensitivities. I'm curious for a moment with the theme around loneliness. I've had two ways. On the one hand, I'm feeling more connected to me, more connected to the earth, more connected to my body, more connected to my truth, all these things more connected. And I'm also feeling more honest of where I am lonely in terms of a relationship or missing my son. Like the ability to be with that truth. Whereas before, I would just serve everybody. I would just work all day long and make sure everybody else is happy. And I would make sure I gave at least 80% so that I only kept 20%. And so I was always depleted and never quite connected and never quite discerning of what I really, really need. So tell us about where loneliness fits in for you right now.
It's one of the things that I found up until that rejection and abandonment piece was a real need to impress, be accepted, have approval from those outside my intimate close circle. So right in front of me, I had the most amazing people, but I wasn't giving the time, love, and energy to them. I was more interested in fixing, which was really just confirming the rejection and abandonment wound, the ones that weren't, quote unquote, accepting of me or weren't as close. So yeah, it's kind of a little bit for me heartbreaking that I've had these amazing people right in front of me, but my time and attention was going to the core wound of rejection and abandonment and trying to get the approval, acceptance, acknowledgement from those, in the outer circles. So from a loneliness point of view, it feels a lot cleaner at the moment. But sometimes I do feel, and I don't know if this resonates with you as a coach as well, like right now, I'd love to just completely surrender and just, be held, as ironic as that is for a 38-year-old male, just be held for this little period of my life. And unfortunately, and, I'm so lucky that I've got really accommodating and understanding clients, but unfortunately the show must go on. So I'm looking for little, and credit to, my partner. She's done such an amazing role of stepping into that really grounded, solid space for me over the last few weeks, which the masculine part of me, or potentially even the wounded masculine part of me, is struggling to surrender and fall away, I guess, in the way that I have over the last few weeks, knowing that there will be an endpoint, but really struggling to honor where I'm at. But yeah, there's a I guess a strength that is required and a bandwidth that's required to do life. And even a client reached out this morning and was talking about shamanic practices. I don't know what group he was talking about, but essentially he was saying that when, in the kind of more shamanic groups, when they go through something like this, they'll often take the person away and, some more of the elders or the wiser of the group will take this person away and just have them nest for a few days and just be there while they process and sit with and go through their emotions. And I was like, dude, that's exactly what I feel like I need. Wow. So yeah, there's in this kind of this rebirth and this infancy that I'm feeling, there's a desire to be held by the right people. So yeah, it's a bizarre time. It's really a bizarre time, but I'm guessing from the nods that you're feeling somewhat similar.
100%. Different, but same. Since I started, it hasn't been quite the abrupt or the intense, maybe I could say, that you're expressing. This just happened 3 weeks ago. It feels like it's been like a rolling for me. I've done 6 MDMA cannabis journeys. 5. I'm going for my 6th tomorrow. Actually, I'm driving to Salt Lake City tomorrow. But in between, I've done additional cannabis sessions on Zoom. So it's been 10 months of this. And what I've really, oh my God, like happy tears appreciated is my cranial sacral woman. She's about 70. And the way the back of my neck, I had no idea. When I first started this work, they're like, relax. I'm like, I am. They're like, no, you're 100% firing in the back of your head and neck right now. I'm like, no, I'm not. And as it's integrated my body now, when she holds my head, it is a cradling and safety I've never been able to receive. And so I do cranial sacral, I do acupuncture, and the way she sticks needles everywhere. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I'm totally relaxed. Then, my body, I'm like, oh my God, look at that. There was that. Who knew there was that? And then I have my structural massage, and that's a gentleman. And I'm like, okay, so I'm going to cry. I'm going to scream. It's just, this is the ride. Are you ready for the ride? He's like, sure. So instead of working just the muscle, I am literally saying out loud, oh, rage. And he's like, okay. But now he's pretty used to me being, batshit crazy, and whatever happens. But the freedom of being able to feel, voice it, feel the emotion, let the sensation, and have a body practitioner help me all the way through. It's been invaluable. So if there aren't some shamans that can take you away for a couple of days, even having these different practitioners has been a game changer for me. And I really recommend it to really let yourself experience in your body safety and cocooning on this planet. It's huge.
What do you feel? I know I'm turning the table a little bit, but I'm interested in your piece. What do you feel is the difference with your loneliness piece now compared to potentially a loneliness piece that you've had previously? Like what's at the core of it, do you think?
Well, like you mentioned, your abandonment wound, my loneliness was a factor of the old program, the old way of being. Was like, oh, I want love, but you're the predator protector. Which one are you? And so I wanted the protection, but then I would get hurt and the cycle would happen over and over. So the loneliness was based in a wound. It was based in a wound and a perpetuating wound that I never could solve, no matter how many courses I took or how much ayahuasca I did or whatever. I just kept attracting the nasty guys, business and romantic. Like it was everywhere. It was everywhere, which is that was the intensity of the criticism the other day. It's just like, I have fucked my life up so bad in so many places from one point of view. From another point of view, okay, that was the program. Look what you've learned. Look what you've integrated and look what you can share. And I really think this is the new leadership, Blake. And this is something I want to circle back to after I answer the second half of the loneliness part. So I'll answer that first. Now the loneliness is different because I feel like I have a basement. I'm actually in my hips. I've been a brave motherfucker with an open heart, very connected to spirit because I'm really good at disassociating. But now the discernment in my hips, like, oh, this is home. This is safety. So the loneliness feels authentic. I am a 53-year-old woman with a lot of love to give. I ought to have a natural sense of loneliness that I'm not sharing my life with a beloved. It's healthy lonely. And my son, I've honored his path. His dad and I had a 12-year custody battle. He created peace by living with dad. I let him do that. I took the high road. But I would just mother my clients. I would mother the world. I would save humanity. Like I would get that motherly energy other ways, but I wouldn't slow down to feel the truth of I just miss my kid. I just miss my kid. And that loneliness isn't bad or wrong. It's a normal, natural reaction to life. And so this is what I wanted to say about leadership and thank goodness for your partner helping you out as you need time for you. Do you think the new leadership we're not in charge? We might be the facilitators or the gatherers of a group, but we don't need to have it together. We don't need to be fixing anybody. And nor do we need to be, not that you're hiding by taking time to yourself, but you know what I mean? Like we can't show up until we're on our game again. Like I'm just showing up like a hot mess and my clients are thriving because there's this safety for everybody to be real in a way that I don't think I provided before because I didn't provide it to me.
Which is, I'm glad you brought that because that was going to be I was actually going to ask you the question of that piece around your son previously, whether it was a disassociation, whether it was a level of shame, whether it was, and I've been in all of those and I've even done a lot of bypassing. And I do, for me, based on what you said, and I think we spoke about this on my podcast as well, is there's a warmth and a safety to you, but there's also the, which I think really solidifies a strong coach these days. There's the ownership of the kind of shadowy or the things that aren't working. Yeah. And that sits really well with me now. I spent in my mastermind, we spent 3 months on shadow work and it completely fucking rattled everyone in the first few weeks. And by the end of the 3 months, they were like, holy fuck, like this is powerful stuff. And as much as this is almost like a kink and an edge for me, I really, and probably it's equal parts kink, equal parts edge, and equal parts safety. I want to see your dark side. I don't care how fucking dark it is because I've been to some dark places, but I want to see it. And then I know we're good. Because if you think about it, and this is such an interesting time in our world, you know, if we're born whole and then we kind of have this split between the ego self, I am, identity, persona, and the shadow self, is really, you know, everyone's well-intended. There's no doubt about that. Really, we're just seeing everyone's ego.
Yeah.
We're seeing the shiny parts that, you know, that they want to show, and we're not seeing what's in the closet. I want to go with you to the darkest and dingiest part of your closet and just see what that is. And I don't want, you know, from a coaching point of view, it's this really interesting relationship that a lot of people have. I don't want to be put on a pedestal. I don't want to put any other coaches on a pedestal. I'm trying to have a human experience. And if I can add some value and hold space for you and allow you to transform in any way, shape or form, cool. I'm here for all of it. And, you know, I've got a shadow like you've got a shadow. It might look different, probably will look different, but those are the depths that I want to go to. And those are the depths that I want to be able to hold you in. Mm-hmm. And until I go to the depths myself, I can't hold you. And I've seen it firsthand that I will go to some dark places with coaches and I can see in their body that they can't hold me. I'm like, cool. This is off limits, unfortunately, for you and for me, because you can't hold me in it. And, you know, it's big. And again, you know, there's a very big difference between someone's words and their energy. In their words, they're telling me that they can hold it. And I can see in your body that there's a contraction or there's a judgment or something, and all good. You can't hold me in it, but this is where we're stopping.
Yes.
So I don't know if I answered your question. I can't remember what it was.
Really enjoyed talking to you. Okay. So I was literally in my last cannabis session on Zoom. So I'm going, as I said, tomorrow to do my 6th journey, but I was saying to my facilitator, my practitioner, my witness, my shaman, as I'm on the medicine, I'm literally like dishing him out some darkness. And he's like, I can feel, I have a mask on. I can't see shit. I can feel, Blake. And then I said to him, I go, oh, everything I dish out, you can be with. This is so freeing. This is so amazing. And then he said, this still makes me cry. It's a privilege to witness you. So to the wound where that was wrong, you were abused for that, you were rejected for that, like you abandoned for that, like to hear those words from the masculine did something to rewire me as the feminine. That really was transformative. So I'm curious, professionally, when we're coaches, I get that we can't surrender unless they can hold us as deep as we can go. Otherwise we're not going there. On the medicine, same thing. But romantically, like, just be totally transparent, I'm probably like 20 years older than you, but like when you said like, and I want to go into those dark shadows with you, I'm like, thank you, like kind of turn me on a bit. I'm like, that's what I want in a partner. Like, where the fuck is he? Because I seem to be able to go deeper than others. And that's the loneliness. That's the loneliness. Where is somebody that can be that for me and taking total ownership at the same time? Well, I hadn't been that for me. So how could I vibration have attracted that at the same time? And what's possible in phase 2 of your relationship, in your rebirthing, and the death of the old way and this new depth is, that's limitless. It's beautiful.
Well, the other thing on that is, and I think it was actually Dr. Wednesday Martin spoke of it, and it's interesting the societal conditioning that we've got around this, but she, and I can totally see it, was of the belief based on her research that females can go heaps deeper and darker than males as a general rule of thumb. And we've always, as a society, at least on the surface level, had the belief that it was the other way around. But I love the thought of, that the depths and the darkness and all of that. And if I'm, really kind of transparent about it, and this is, we spoke about this offline, I'm feeling somewhat challenged on a intimacy point of view in terms of the next level of that. And I don't know what I don't know. And I don't know actually what's blocking me. As someone who takes pretty good ownership, I'd go there if I knew what was blocking me.
Sure.
And it's almost this, beautiful dance of, and I'm happy to kind of be quite open about it, of the depths and the darks when it comes to intimacy and that element of relationship, but also the depths and the darks of the edge and the kink and the kind of the darker stuff as well, that probably, if I'm honest, I feel more comfortable in going to real dark places in that space. And I've got a lot more work to do in terms of the intimacy parts and the depths of those. So it's almost like these two roads, one of which my partner probably feels more comfortable and one of which I feel more comfortable in. And this, this evolution and also this walking each other home, you know what I mean? Like, and Ram Dass talks about this so nicely, like to be able to be that for each other in terms of holding this space in this container to allow, to walk each other home. Is amazing. And, I think I actually said this to you on our podcast. I was interested in your dating life for that reason of the way that you can show up and the depth and the insight that you have. And I have zero doubt that there's plenty of males out there that can hold that. And as you said, it gets challenging. And, I often talk about if I was single these days, I think I'd find, the pool would be really small. And I'm sure you can kind of resonate with this, that the pool of what I'm looking for and the pool of the depths and the darkness and the edges that I want to take life to, there wouldn't be many people that could hold it or that are actually interested in it. And for whatever reason, they want to do relationships the way they want to do it, but the pool gets smaller, albeit it can get a lot deeper as well.
Yeah. Smaller and deeper. That's so true. And I choose a partner. So here we are, we're willing to own our stuff. We're not perfect, but we're whole and we're together. And then we're literally designed, when you find your person, literally designed to awaken a dormant evolutionary quality in the other. And they're literally not 1 + 1 is 2, 1 + 1 is infinity, right? So you literally are designed to wake something up within the other. That's probably not going to be comfortable. That's probably going to feel like shit. It's probably going to be terrifying, but it's for you. It's for us, the we, and it's for who we can be for humanity. So it's good. Like that's the quality of someone that when I just piss the shit out of you are, and you scare the shit, whatever it is, we don't go anywhere. We see that this is for us. We don't fix each other, but we don't go anywhere either. We're not responsible for each other. We're responsible to each other. And then we get to witness this ever unfolding evolutionary awakening. Yes, please.
So much. This is what lights me up, these conversations. There's so much juice in it. And I am respectful of every single person. I just don't understand how people aren't more interested in like diving into the darkness and the depths and the juice that this conversation is kind of bringing about. I like to lay dormant and docile and domesticated. I don't understand. I do not understand. And I don't want to, I don't want to be part of that. I want depth. I want darkness. I want juice. And these conversations light me up.
Fuck yeah. And if I wish I didn't have a coaching call in 10 minutes with all my people, because you're amazing. I look forward to, I don't know what, co-leading something in the future or just continuing to like feature you and make sure the whole world knows about you because you're amazing. Thank you. Wow.
Thank you. And I said on our podcast, I really, like similar to you, I'm fortunate to speak to so many people and there's ones that leave, everyone leaves some kind of impression, but there's others that probably leave a stronger imprint. And yeah, I don't know what that looks like for us, but yeah, I feel exactly the same way.
Thank you. So cool. So good. So I want to do all the professional things and then I want to end on the heart stuff. So I want everyone to know about this Rituals of Connection ebook. What is it? How can they find it? What juice is it going to bring them?
So my partner and I have a thing called Rituals of Connection, which is a conversation we have every Sunday about what's happening in our life, what's working, what's not. And it's just an opportunity to check in. It's a weekly check-in. We've had it every Sunday since we started our relationship. And it really just allows a deeper understanding of each other and what our needs are. It's just because for a lot of couples, it's like having a conversation when, he's on the couch watching sport, having a beer on his phone. It's like, that's bullshit. That's not proper chat. That's not proper connection. That's not proper depth. So we really made it a rule from literally day dot that that's what we were going to have in our relationship. And even if we're on our own paths, throughout the course of the week and, we've both had busy weeks and we're not as connected as we'd like to be, the Sunday is the opportunity to kind of reground and come together and talk about it and talk about our needs and talk about our desires and talk about each other. So in that ebook is 52 questions, one a week, that you can ask your partner or your future partner. for, obviously the next 12 months that will help you understand them on a deeper level and ideally create a deeper connection between the two of you as well.
Friggin' love it. I did this with a gentleman I dated for a year every Sunday as well. And it was the form of a dyad. So we would ask each other and the person would answer and the other one would just say, thank you. So there was no arguments, there was no rebuttals, there was no justifications. It was just to seek understanding, not to seek a solution or somebody's winning, just to deepen that connection. So I love this. And so people can find out about it. I'll put all of this in the show notes, everyone. BlakeWorrallThompson.com/rituals-of-connection. Okay, awesome. All right. Well, from your new birthed self, your pure new birth self, how would you like to complete this conversation?
Just by honoring you, to be honest. As I said, I've really enjoyed the two conversations that we've had, and also just, the transparency that you've shown through your own challenges. It's easy as a coach to hide what's not necessarily working for you. And I feel really drawn to, and I'm respectful of everyone's path, but I'm feeling more and more drawn to those that are okay with sitting in the shadow, talking about the things that aren't working and humanizing the position that we're in as coaches. And that just feels, something that I'm more and more drawn to. So yeah, just wanted to honor you and the work that you do.
Wow. Thank you. I don't think anyone's ever ended the podcast with an acknowledgement. So thank you. Thank you. It takes a lot of bravery to show up authentically, which I know you know. And then it's a whole other thing to be acknowledged by someone who's walking the same path of bravery and authenticity. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, okay, everybody. This was like epic. And I'm sure there were many moments when you were like, holy fuck. Okay. Okay. So I want you to just stop after this podcast. Maybe get your journal out, maybe go for a walk, maybe just sit quietly, but something awoke something in you. Something got triggered. You got moved. Take an action based on that. Definitely go to Blake's site and download his Rituals of Connection ebook. Maybe reach out to him. Maybe he's your person for your next evolution with looking for a coach. Maybe I am. Take an action that will support you. And then lastly, just hand on heart, hand on belly. Just, hey, stay honoring of this sweet body of yours, sweet soul of yours, sweet heart of yours. You're doing such a great job on this planet. It's an intense time for all of us. So we both, Blake and I, thank you for being with us. We love you. We surround you with our love. And until next time on Intimate Conversations, thank you for letting me love the shit out of you. See you next week on Intimate Conversations. Get out there and make love to life. So, Muffin and I are leaving. We are leaving Charleston. Everything's okay, honey. I'm just doing a video. You're like, who are you talking to? So we're leaving Mount Pleasant after a 3 or 4 day hurricane where I stayed with my beautiful clients / friends / family. I'm on my way up to a beautiful cabin that I've rented for 3 weeks to do 4 PSIs with clients. The clients that I just stayed with, they're going to come up in about a week. I have another client first. I found these old sunglasses. These sunglasses I bought when my mom was still alive. So I totally remember us going shopping for them too. So it's probably like they're 30 years old maybe. I still have them. And so off we go yet again, Muffin, on another adventure. And I'm not going to do the victim, woe is me, after another failed relationship. No, that was a freaking success. I learned so much. I grew so much. These clients that I am with right now, I wouldn't even have met them had it not been for moving to Charleston. And as I was getting on the freeway and leaving this beautiful area of town, I'm like, I freaking love it. It's so beautiful here. Very humid. So grateful to be going. This is a cabin on the lake. It's on 3 acres on the lake. It's going to be epic. I'm going to paddleboard every day. Oh, it's going to be great. And I'm really feeling this sense of gentleness with myself. I so desire and I'm so ready to find my epic sanctuary cabin to buy and unpack. And
watch out, vehicle on shoulder ahead.
I'm so ready for that. And I realize whenever I resist where I am, I unnecessarily waste my energy. So I just have a different point of view of Alana and her adventures, and Muffin and our adventures. And, there's no sense judging myself. This is just how life has unfolded for my soul. This is just how life has gone. I don't settle. I risk big. I learn deep. And then I let go when the lesson's done. And I guess I could have been given one man to grow with for the last 30 years and had all these lessons within one marriage. That's totally possible. But it didn't happen. No one else wanted to grow with me. So, and I didn't choose anybody that did either. I have to own that, because that was based on my wounding. Just looking for wounded men to save so that I would, be like worthy and good enough of love or whatever it was going on. Anyways, that's over. And what's really cool is I really feel like I'm on a no-man diet. I am going into a year, I'm a coach, as you know, but I also get coached. I always have 2, 3, 4 coaches going on so that someone can see my blind spots. Someone can help me become a better coach while I'm coaching. And it keeps things very balanced, very vulnerable. And so John Wineland and Kendra Kunov are my coaches for the next year.
Watch out, vehicle on shoulder ahead.
And they very much encourage a dry spell. So I'm looking forward to not dating, to focusing on my beautiful clients and new programs that I'm launching, and finding my new place to live, and my orgasmic nature, and living in the mountains, and finding my beautiful sanctuary. So I'm actually leaving. Sometimes when I leave a place after a relationship doesn't work, I'm sad. And that's okay too, if that's what's true. And I had a cry the other night, not so much that I miss my ex, just that he was so mean and my heart hurt. I just put my armor on to get through the unkindness. And now that I'm safe, I can feel how, ouch, my heart feels from his behavior. And that's okay. I'm human. I'm allowed to feel my feels. So, as you completed watching this beautiful podcast with this re-airing of this podcast, I'm just so glad that when I knew I first met a brother from another mother, that I was able, about a year later, to meet him in person and have dinner with him in Australia and let him know, no, really, you're awesome. No, really, I want to collaborate. No, really, you're a gift to humanity. So what a gift that he's going to come back on the podcast for a second return guest featuring soon. But for now, I'm really glad you got to enjoy this podcast again. And please follow him on Instagram. Please go to his website, Life by Design. The guy walks his talk. This is what is so beautiful. That podcast that we did, he was so raw. And to see him, I guess about a year later, continuing to do the work, alone and with Shani, and the depth of their love and the expansion of his soul has been so inspiring to me. The dude's in his 40s, mid-40s, like, what? Very, very inspiring. Please have him in your life. All right, and anywhere that I can support your life, you know that that's my delicious pleasure as we head off for our next adventure to the cabin, and then be on the lookout for our next podcast with both Blake and also Emma's coming back again as well. Emma Dunwoody, who the two of them that I had dinner with in Byron Bay in Australia. Incredible people. So I bless you with them, and I love you with all my heart. Mwah.